Inheritance is a functionality that's foundational to object-oriented programming, and it's part of C#, and it's something you're going to see on the exam. You're going to deal with this in real life with programs. So in this video, let's talk about what inheritance is and set up a really good, simple example to help you get your brain around this. Now, inheritance is the ability of one class to utilize the functionalities of another class. Now, the official way to say that is that a derived class utilizes the functionalities of the parent class. Now, if you think about this happens in real life. Think about when you were growing up. You were the derived class, and the parent class owned a home and a car and all that. And so you utilized a lot of the functionalities, or you implemented a lot of the functionalities of the parent class. You borrowed their car, you used their lawnmower, you use the washing machine, those sorts of things. Now we're going to do the same things in our code, and we're going to do a very simple example here. We're going to create an application for a fictitious veterinarian. That's an animal doctor. So we're going to go through and assume that we're going to sit down and have this first design meeting with the veterinarian. So we're going to bring the vet in, and he or she is going to bring some of the staff in, and we're going to talk about what needs to happen and what functionalities our program needs to provide, and what we're going to mimic is real world objects. And we're going to start off, obviously, we're going to need an animal object. So we're going to build an animal class. And they inform us that all animals that visit the vet, when they come in the front door, at some point this is going to happen to them. We're going to capture the owner's name and check their account balance. We want to make sure that the animal has the current vaccinations or whatever inoculations or treatments they're supposed to have before they can be around other animals or our staff. We're going to make sure that we have vital stats collected on each visit and so forth. So let's start to think about how we would go about designing other classes. Now, what about the dogs? Well, dogs need to do all that stuff, but they also have certain other procedures. For example, we may need to do a heartworm check or provide some heartworm treatment for the dogs, and maybe there's other things that dogs have, okay? And then there's certain procedures that only cats will get, right? Like treatments for hairballs, or maybe other diseases that are unique to cats, and we'll need to program those functionalities into those classes. Now, let's think about the class functionalities for this application. Now, let's just kind of draw these out. First of all, in the animal class, we've kind of thought it over, and some of the methods that we're probably going to include there are check-in, so that when the animal comes in, we can call the check-in method and go through everything that's required to check that animal in, attach to the database, and retrieve information and so forth. When everything's done and we've treated the animal, we want to check out, make sure everything gets billed, make sure we give the owner an invoice and all that. And then we want to be able to update owner information if anything has changed there. Then we want to check the balance on their account, and while the animal's back there being checked out by the vet, we want to get vital stats, and we want to check for those vaccinations. So that's going to happen on every animal that comes in. Well, on the dog, when a dog comes in, we need to notice, check them in, check them out, update owner information, check that account balance, get vital statistics, check vaccinations, and do heartworm treatments, right? Then when a cat comes in, we need to check them in, check them out, update some owner information, check the balance, get some vital stats, check their vaccinations, do a hairball treatment, and check for feline diseases. Now notice, do you see anything that is the same across here? And in the yellow boxes, yes, you certainly can. So what are we going to do with this? Well, inheritance will help us take care of this challenge. And the best way to understand this is to look at some code. So if you'll join me in the video, inheritance example, just look out there in the course. It's going to be a two-part video. We're going to build these three classes and talk about how we can use inheritance to deal with the redundancy that we see right here.